go watch Marriage Story. Dave already gave a non-spoiler review about Noah Baumbach's most recent film. Just received a bunch of nominations at the Golden Globes. Both Driver and ScarJo received nominations, as well as the movie for Best Picture. Yeah, uh, Marriage Story. I thought this was fantastic.
Yeah.
Driver is amazing in this. Um, you know what I think I liked most about this film is so it's about Charlie, who's this up and coming theater director in New York
Mhm.
City, and this felt a
I'd
lot
say
like a
I'd say
play.
established. He's pretty successful.
Yeah, I guess he receives this huge grant and award and being called a genius for his work. Um, it felt like a play in a lot of parts.
Sure.
Whether it was Scarlett Johansson walking around Laura Dern's office doing a monologue about what their marriage and how she lost herself within it, or the court scene between Laura Dern and Ray Liotta, or even the big fight felt like something that could have happened in a film, maybe or in a theater performance. It wasn't played up to the same effect I feel like it would have been in person, but still, like punching the wall and Driver breaking down into tears, man, all incredibly effective. And I thought that this was just fantastic. And that final scene where he's sitting with his son and he finally reads the letter from the beginning, when Adam Driver gets that lump in his throat and that lip quiver, man, it hit me. Like it got me. I
hmm
was so sad at that point. There were definitely some real dusties
Oh
flying
yeah.
around the Sheehan household over here. Now that you get to talk spoilers on the pod, Dave, what stood out to you? And let's dig in a little bit more into this.
Yeah. So I saw it like, geez, about a month and a few days ago now at the Independent Film Fest in Boston. And yeah, check the spoiler review out if you want. But yeah, man, not a big Noah Baumbach guy. Just haven't seen a lot of his films. Talked about that before. Um, but I kind of knew the vibe he's had, or he's had a reputation to have anyway. And I've seen some people say that he kind of makes the same movie every time. And if that's the case, it feels like this is the best one. This or Francis Ha, it seems, are pretty universally being held up. Um, when they have that fight, like when ScarJo and Driver finally
Have it out.
really just let out because they've just been growing apart throughout the whole movie. And ScarJo's character is the one who's much more invested in desiring of the split,
Mm-hmm.
and Driver hasn't yet come to terms with why that is. When they have that fight, and like the whole time too, I said before, I think this is Scarlett's best performance.
Hmm.
And it's funny because a lot of the discourse around this movie has been that it's ultimately about Driver's character, and he certainly is in more scenes, and he has more lines. But I think it's incredibly fair to both perspectives in the story. So I don't really see that as a negative. I think ultimately they had to pick someone to
Mm-hmm.
lead with. Um, and again, there's some autobiographical nature to this with Baumbach, so you really
Right.
can't blame him for writing it this way.
Right.
But when they had that fight, and like, man, they're just tearing into each other, and like the whole, like you mentioned, there's sniffles in the movie. There's sniffles before this scene. In
Mm-hmm.
general, I think you're at this point, the audience is incredibly invested in the storytelling because the performance is so strong. There's scenes of amazing humor and also incredible dread, bookending each other throughout the screenplay. It's impressive script. When you have that fight scene and like really just laying into each other, and you're just like, man, not only is this over, but I want it to be over too.
Yeah.
And like,
Yep.
like Driver, like we've espoused praise for him for a while the past few weeks, but like when he just goes full Kylo and he's like, I wish you would die. And
Yeah.
it's like, holy shit. And like he
Yeah.
slams the wall and you're just like, good grief. This is fucking dark.
Yeah, man. I think I literally just went, ooh, yikes! Like when he ended, I both of my girlfriend and I were sitting there. We like looked at each other. We're like, ooh, went a little too far. But then you see him like break down like immediately, and
Yeah.
you see that he's not this like
Right.
this monster who's saying this thing. He's this person who's been
They call each other honey like the next
right.
day.
Yep. Yeah. He's been totally emotionally destroyed, And in one sense, I've been seeing this a lot starting to be called a like a divorce court drama, or procedural in a sense, kind of give
Mm.
everybody the feel of like what it goes through. But
So much more than that.
yeah, it is so much more than that. And I think where I really connect with the movie is just like the devastation of like giving yourself to another person, and how you how you can get so far down the line with something before you start to like recognize like, oh, I'm in way too deep to this, or I've gotten to a place I don't want to go, and how do I get myself back out of here? Or this person is getting themselves out, I don't want them to get out, and like how do I reconcile that this person who felt like such a part of me is now apart from me? um just really, whew, it was heavy but also funny. Like Merritt Weaver as
Awesome.
yeah, fantastic. And the scene where she serves him is maybe the funniest scene of the year. I mean, goddamn, when she goes into that weird voice accent, and he starts echoing back, and he's like, "Oh, what is this?" And she's like, "Ah, hold on, let's try this again." I was just dying laughing. It
What
was
is she
like,
talking about? Like a pie or something too? Or what is it?
yeah,
Like a cake? I forget. Oh God, so
it
good.
was fantastic and just done so
You're
well. And
serving me
then
divorce papers?
yeah, you're getting a okay. Like, it just, like, runs out of the room. Um, yeah, and also, uh, you know, it ends in a very sweet way, which I think is like, if this didn't end in a sweet way, if this just kind of left it like devastated, I probably wouldn't feel the same way. I think the ending works really well for me because um, it leaves with the idea of hope, which you're sitting with this crumbling relationship, um and really I think feeling very like frustrated with both characters at different points. Like the whole time, a driver's character Charlie is trying to get Nicole, played by Scarjo, to just talk, and she just won't. The lawyers say it's better if we don't, and then she finally comes around to talk, and that's when they have this huge fight, and it feels like things could have just been avoided if they talked. Where as then you find out, Driver was cheating on her, and was no saint himself within all this, and there's issues all around. So to end it on a sweet note and that there's some hope, I think really helps me leave with like a sweet taste in my mouth, and also just feeling like this movie touches on a lot of different themes, but doesn't ultimately leave you feeling like wrecked, which it certainly could have.
Right. I saw some like people that were less warm on the movie saying that they would have preferred if it was more focused on the legal stuff before, as you said.
Mm-hmm.
It was notably with Laura Dern, Ray Liotta, and Alan Alda, you really have three memorable performances that really kind of perk up the movie in like Act Two.
Yeah.
But again, I just, unless you just totally did not connect with those emotional beats at the start, I don't see how you want the focus to shift like that. Because again, I think from scene one, when they're at the mediator meeting and reading the letter about what they like about each other, and then you're like, oh wait, but they're getting divorced. Like, if that isn't hook, line, and sinker, I just don't know why that wouldn't work on someone.
Yeah. You know, I think that just speaks to how good Alda, Leota, and Dern are, and especially I
Right.
want to see Leota and Dern go up against each other more, because that scene, almost more than the actual fight scene, was just hard to watch. How they're both like staring at the table and just like throwing more and more mud across the aisle at each other, but through their lawyers, and how like disengaged they were. But then Leota and Dern are so like on their A game. It's really great scene. Just I think that's the thing I keep coming back to, is how it's scene after scene after scene where I'm like, oh, that
Right.
that was great. Oh, that was fantastic. I
Yeah.
really love how they did that there.
That's
Um,
why I think the script is really one of the true standouts too, just
yeah.
because the way it constructs a story the whole time. It's not only really engaging, but I think just the way you can juggle all those emotional beats the
Mm-hmm.
whole time, taking you scene to scene,
Yeah.
works really well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, these two films, Parasite and Marriage Story, certainly up there for best of the year. I'm excited to see 1917 and Little Women, and kind of round out that list, and obviously Star Wars. I don't know if he'll make it on, but just a lot of really good film. And
Yes,
well,
sir.
yeah,